You're having Thirsty Thursday with your pals the other day.
It's Thirsty Thursday, and that means we are once again hanging out at the produce stand, a podcast paying tribute to the great Canadian show, Letterkenny. Now, I know what you're thinking. There are many other podcasts about Letterkenny out there, but this one is the only one that has a rule against inappropriate farts. I'm Al, your host, and joining me in the room, as always, is the lovely Tanya. And online, we have Squirrely Matt and the vexatious Victor.
That dictionary's running thin, dude.
I know. So today's lineup's going to be Victor, Matt, Tanya. So
how are you now?
Victor, Victor's got his train wreck background, and he's holding up a model Century 21 engine car.
I thought we were over the fucking train thing.
No, we've got...
Oh, Victor, tell us how your week was.
So I think I touched on this last time that we were moving kind of from the virtual world into the real world. So I've got a real model train now.
A real fake
that
train.
helps on a podcast.
So the exciting thing is I ordered this train like a long time ago, and it finally came, and it's from 1996. And
that's when you ordered it?
So I ordered it like a month ago or something. Mm-hmm. Anyway, it's brand new in box, which I opened, but it was released in 1996. So this box was on store shelves in 1996. So I had no idea if this engine was going to run or not or whatever. Anyway, so after I ordered it, I got all excited and I started looking for the other things, and I found another set that was like they were just selling it as junk. Because they said the engine wasn't working, but all the cars, the rolling track that the train pulls was in good condition. Anyway, so I got it, and it came before this one, and they were right; it didn't run at all. But I opened it up. The drive shafts were completely just loose, hanging out inside the engine. All I needed to do was connect the drive shafts to the flywheels, and the flywheels to the motor, and it was working like brand new. It was running super well. And this thing came in today, and this thing is like so smooth compared to that one. But I'm just all about trains now. I'm very excited.
You're in paradise.
We got a lot of new listeners this week, and I feel like we're not starting on our best foot.
Yeah. Don't worry, folks. We're gonna try to rein him in.
Yeah. All right,
yeah.
Matt.
So just wait. So a couple of good stories. So one is a quick update. So Pumpkin is just awesome. She's doing great.
Good. Oh,
she's going to go for her final visit to the doctor tomorrow to just get checked up on her time. But she's like our right. So have you ever seen the movie Awakenings?
Yes.
Robin, it's based on the real story. You know, these guys, they get.
Fantastic movie.
Yeah, it was really great. I feel like she's going through that right now because I feel like she knows this is like her last. It's like a victory lap that she's doing, and I don't know, like she's this new cat. She's going up and down the stairs. She's
like a kitten.
Like doing things that she's leaping from. It's unbelievable. So I don't know how long it's going to last, but we're loving it. We're happy. She's happy. And so we're really enjoying that.
That's good to hear. Awesome.
All right.
Well done, Pumpkin. Matt, how's your week?
I don't know how to top that.
The trains, I know.
I was going to say the bar was low until we got the pumpkin news, but
I know. No, I mean my week's been fine. I mean it's only been a couple of days since we talked last. I mean, I got to say Monday was a blast.
It was a lot of fun.
Having Patrick on was so much fun. I hope we can do that again with him sometime. I hope we can get some other people for the show because that really was a fun. I saw a lot of comments about it. People enjoyed it, so that was a blast. The funny thing was though, I got in, I wouldn't say trouble, a little bit of trouble is that night because, well, one, I told you my other half doesn't, she kind of laughs that I do this. She doesn't care, but she kind of laughs a bit. But normally, I drink through the whole show and then she's asleep by the time I go inside. But on Monday, she wasn't, and I was half in the bag when the show was over. I know I hold it together really well during the recording.
Yeah, we
But I
hardly
was half
noticed,
of the
Matt.
bags. So normally I go in, I crush a sando or something, and then just mope around the house for a bit until I eventually crawl into bed. But she was there and she caught me and she's like, "Are you fucking drunk?" As I come in with 4 cans of beer, empty cans in my hand. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, sorry about that."
Oh
So-
my!
It's too bad because it was a nice scene while we were recording that episode. Behind you, we could see the silhouette of Jen hanging the lights on the Christmas tree. It was actually quite a nice scene.
And for the record, I feel it's too early, but our house is fully
No.
Christmas.
No,
Yeah, I'm kind of the same.
Do you have a train under the Christmas tree?
we do.
fucking
We
train,
do.
Victor.
We do. We have a train
What?
under the tree.
Yeah, we did too.
Actually, we have a we have a train that you can attach to the center of the tree,
It goes through
and
the tree.
it can go through the tree. Waha!
Well, that sounds pretty neat.
That said, I did buy, or I should say, wifey did buy our 1-year-old his first train set this week.
Oh,
It was what $9.99 IKEA thing,
so you're
which I put together and he ripped apart, and it was fun.
so you're raising a future Victor. Well done,
Well done.
Tanya. How's your week?
Week was busy. It's I can't believe it's not the weekend. That's how busy it's been. Upstairs renovations are still going strong. We are in the home stretch.
Oh man,
Fingers
it's so exciting!
crossed.
It's looking so good.
Got about 1 more week, maybe 1.5, and then we can start moving back up again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah,
That's it.
that's
Really.
it. Well,
That's
it's enough. It's
It's a
enough.
lot.
It's been a crazy week just handling contractors and we were just talking before we got on here that the reno's gone pretty smoothly up until this week, and now we're hitting a little bit of a snag here just with one of the contractors not being cooperative with the timeline, and Tanya's getting angry, and I'm like, look, everything's gone so smoothly now. If this is the worst that happens, knock on wood, we didn't get shut down yet by a pandemic or anything, so we're fingers crossed, things will go, smoothly from now on.
Pick your fights carefully and handle those contractors with care.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Because the thing is, he does great work.
Oh, fantastic.
Like we went upstairs today, and man, it looks amazing. My week, crazy, but so much fun too. I'm with you, Matt. Monday was a lot of fun. I hope we can get more more guests on and get Patrick back on. I think that was fun. But yeah, I mean, we can't go without talking about the big news from yesterday. The season 9 is going to be released Christmas Day in Canada on Crave, and Boxing Day on Hulu in the US, which is kind of weird considering the US doesn't even celebrate Boxing Day, do they? I don't think they. I think it's a Canadian British thing. I don't think Americans have Boxing Day.
No.
So
I think theirs is the Black Friday, right?
Yeah,
Well,
no,
yeah.
they don't. No, because I know because I deal mostly with the States, and we were talking about Boxing Day, and they do not.
yeah.
No.
So I mean, I guess because Letterkenny started off as a Crave show, Crave probably had the rights to release it first, and so they put it out on Christmas Day, and then Hulu got the next best day, which would have been the 26th. But anyway, it was an interesting thing to see that. Crave came first and then Hulu, considering the vast size difference in both markets, and I'm sure money difference too. And then the other big piece of news is tomorrow night I'm going to be on the Toronto Mike podcast, making my semi-regular appearance on his podcast. So
Well, good luck, my friend.
I'm hoping.
Plug us.
Yeah. Oh, I will. I know Mike's going to ask me about it because I'm sure he's seen my Twitter feed and is wondering how things are going. So.
Is it the same female or is it different categories?
What usually I get on when I go on, it's to do his best of. So I'm kind of like the Toronto Mike curator. So I did episodes 0 to 250 best of, and then episodes 250 to 500 best of, and now I'm going back to do 500 to 750. So I had to do a lot of looking back and seeing, trying to pick some clips and stuff. It'll be fun. And like I said, we'll talk about this because he's going to wonder, what took me so long to prepare for this episode. I'm like, sorry, Mike, I'm doing my own thing now.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to that because you always do a good job.
Thanks. So. Yeah. So it'll be fun, and we'll talk about this podcast for sure and compare notes. And yeah. Let's talk about our sponsor before we move on. Dennis Gugin is the owner of owner and proprietor of Dennis Gugin's custom Funko Pop Culture collectible vinyl figures. He really has to shorten that. If you don't know what a Funko Pop is, well, look it up. I'm not your Google. For the rest of you, check out Dennis's work. He creates custom Funko Pop characters of anyone you can think of. Some of my favorites include Eddie Van Halen, Mike Tyson, Eminem, and the entire cast of Letterkenny, and you. That's right. You can have your own custom Funko Pop of someone you love or hate, if that's your kink. Either way, Dennis is your man. Check out his work on Facebook or Instagram at DG Pop Customs. Drop him a line if you're interested in a custom Funko Pop of your own. Dennis recently tweeted a picture of his work featuring all of the Letterkenny characters and not just the main four Hicks, like all of them. He's even got I believe he had Gale in there, but he had like all the Skids in there, all the Hicks. He had all of them. I'll share a picture below this podcast, and thank you, Dennis, for your support. And speaking of support, wow, the season 9 announcement.
I just saw that list. Good luck to you, my friend.
Al was busy yesterday.
Season 9's announcement brought on a lot of renewed interest in Letterkenny. And so we got a whole bunch of new followers. And I've got a list of 50 here that I'm going to try to go through as fast as I can. So here we go. Welcome to our new Twitter followers. Podium, Viz504, Mary Caseymas, Chris Lale from North Carolina, Tracy M. Hoff from Bayport, Minnesota, Mike Loranger from New England, Pat Wills from Pandora, Ohio, Wise Beyond from Canada, Ambalam, Mary from Kansas City, Missouri, Rick Sherrard, Mabel, Wayne from Virginia Beach, Lou, Rat 1969, That Fat Operator from Bowerston, Ohio, Brian Franks, Rich M from Salem, Virginia, Tim Down from Kelowna, BC, beautiful Kelowna, Pizza Slut, Brian Downs from Phoenix, Arizona, Happy Harry Hazmat, Funky Milk, City Boy Lost from Texas, Jeff Slattery. So far, they've been easy to say, though, so there's no Swedish names in here. Jason from Long Beach, California, Nintendo Bitch Light, Bauer for Kamish from Canuckistan, Pax Roll from Tulsa, Oklahoma, MG from MA, Sad Lion, Vettech Rec from Texas, Drew from Ontario, Gin and Tonic, that's with a D, Gin and Tonic from BC, Krista Tibby from Massachusetts, because they know how much I like saying that word, FOMO from Medford, Oregon, Alicia, Derek Oregon from Toronto, Here Comes Sniper Claus from the edge of Kentucky and Ohio, Jeremy Van Thiemsch, of course, I think it's Thiemsch, Brian Kemp from Orleans, and that's Orleans near Ottawa, not New Orleans, Witch Queen Luna, Rolf from Cambridge, Ontario, Billy Ryan Perkins, Rhoda from Farmington, Bert Zach from Roseville, Michigan, Alexis Beldam, Samantha, Kate, and number 50, Boomer Phillips, also known as Boomtown from Letterkenny.
Holy fuck.
Right?
All right. So that's all the time we have today, folks. Join us next week when we review season 3, episode 3, Modine's 2. Oh, fuck.
Okay,
welcome, everyone.
You missed the point here. Boomtown is now following us on Twitter, and hopefully he'll listen to the podcast.
I did.
Yeah.
That'd be great. I would actually love to have him on.
I'm going to reach...
And that was perfect because this episode was so great.
Yeah, I'm going to reach out to him and see if hopefully I don't make him regret following us on Twitter.
Well, don't bore us. Get to the chorus.
Last week, we recapped and reviewed episode 1 of season 3, Sled Shack. That episode got fresh ratings from Matt, Victor, and myself, and a clearance from Tanya. Twitter agreed with us with an overwhelming 80% of respondents giving it a fresh. And
that's normal.
Yeah, and only 10% gave it a clearance, with the remaining 10% giving it a compost. Figure it out. This week, we recap and review episode 2 of season 3, Puck Bunny. Victor, have you done your homework?
I did my homework, and I had to do some extracurricular work as well.
Oh, what, like podcast related or?
No, related to the episode. I had no idea what the ending meant, so I had to go and do some research. God damn it!
Oh, wow.
But yes, I did my homework.
Looking forward to hear that. Okay, Matt, did you do your homework?
Yes, I did.
Tanya, did you do your homework?
Yes, you made me.
Yes, you did. Yeah, yes, I made you. All right, here we go. We start. Oh, it's going to be one of those. We start with the cold open. Wayne and Derry are at the ice fishing hut. Derry is trying to get Wayne's mind off the ruined sled shack, warning Wayne that if he doesn't tuck in that lip, a bird's going to poop right on it. And that's when we get hit with back-to-back Wayne's words of wisdom.
What do I say about talking too much, Derry?
Less say now, less say I have to apologize for later.
Good.
All I'm saying is if you're going to be poopy, maybe you go try fishing with somebody else.
What do I say about the old boss, Derry?
Old boss is always dick till you meet a new one.
Good.
Plus, I think the only other people out here fishing are the ginger boots.
Who may not have fucked an ostrich like everybody thinks they did.
Point and fucking proof.
You give good advice, Wayne.
Well, it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander.
Yeah, GD right it is.
Let's just hope she doesn't go in one ear and out the other, bud.
And then just then, Squirrely Dan joins the poopy party.
What do I say about talking too much, Derry?
Oh,
Let's say
hit the wrong button. Come on.
All this work involved in luring these degens out here. All these.
What the hell? Okay, technical difficulties. 1 second. Here we go. Let's try this now. Squirrely Dan joins the poopy party.
Guess what?
chicken butt.
That's inappropriate, Dan.
Why?
Well, you're just out in the great wide open, but you wait till you come back in here to drop your guts?
Now just hold your horses, Wayne, for just 1 second. I farted outside, too.
The stink from Squirrely Dan's fart compels Wayne to propose some restrictions against quote-unquote inappropriate farts.
Oh, I can't wait. And I mean this. I can't wait to find out what could possibly be deemed an inappropriate fart.
Farting in here?
In here? With the door closed, yeah. Tight quarters, no airflow, poor form.
But I'm with friends. That's who farts are for.
Around food, too.
Around food? Especially around people eating food. That's fucking ignorant.
But I'm eating too. That's when I'm rife with farts.
Okay, Dan. Dan, okay. Okay, Dan. Dan, okay. Let's do an exercise here. You're in a car. When's it okay to fart?
When you're alone.
1 point for dairy. It's always okay to fart when you're alone, but except when you're in elevators. That's uncouth.
You're trying to rob me of my lifebloods here.
When you can roll down the window.
Another point for dairy. But the car must be traveling a minimum of 60 kilometers an hour so that the fart may be aggressively vacuumed out before penetrating nostrils.
This is literally all I have going for me.
If you ask permission.
Well, safe to say if you have to ask for permission, it's an inappropriate fart, but I'll still give you half a point.
The cheekiness, the indecencies of it. It's downright abusive is what it is.
Hey, is that any way to talk to a guy with 2.5 points?
Get this guy fucking puppers.
Want to know what? If you needs me, I'm going to be outside. Farting appropriately.
And Squirrely Dan storms out into the storm, and it's minus 40 with the windshield. Cue the music. All right, initial thoughts. Victor, what say you?
Well, first, I was thinking, didn't they already do a fart etiquette episode, or at least a skit on it? But I couldn't remember if that actually happened or not.
It did.
You're thinking fart book.
Yeah, they did a whole episode. You loved it. It was on your fresh list, I'm pretty sure. Do I need to pull it up?
I never thought of Fart Book as a farting episode.
What?
Oh my God,
Anyway.
it's in the title.
It's a social media episode. I understand what you're saying, Victor. You're still wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Matt?
No, I don't know. And
No, they had the whole cup fart thing. Remember? He farted in his hand and
Cup
then
of fart,
cup
yeah.
of fart.
Yeah, I guess so. I just, for me, it was the whole social media thing that I take away from that episode. But anyway, I mean, I thought this was fun. I thought it was some of the exchange was funny, and some of it was. I was thinking, is this how we're starting?
Yeah.
But I was open minded. I wasn't ready to shut it off.
Sure.
There were some good things going on.
What say you, Matt?
So, I mean, I think I've said this before. I have about the equivalence of a 6-year-old mentality. So fart jokes are right up my alley. But I mean, I felt for Squirrely Dan because they really came hard down on him. And in all fairness, I felt like he was just trying to share. And they didn't appreciate that. Sharing is caring. And that's how I was raised. So fuck them.
Tanya?
I think Squirrely Dan needs to go see a doctor. That's we often have a lot of conversations about farting. There was ground rules laid early in our relationship about inappropriate farts when Alan
Key to a happy marriage.
When Alan decided to zip up the sleeping bag, the double sleeping bag, and then let one rip, and I thought I was going to throw up in the bag.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that racist? I don't know. Dutch oven?
No, it was wrong.
I don't know. If I am, I apologize, but that's the terminology I'm aware of.
Yes, that was the one I grew up with as well. Yes, so key to happy marriage is definitely laying down ground rules around farts.
Yes.
It was it's not the smartest opening they've ever had, but it was fun. It was well acted and fun, but yeah, it was just kind of very juvenile. All right, scene 1 after the music at the hockey rink. Reilly and Jonesy are holding another players only meeting.
All right, you fucking pheasants. Now, we love being the biggest Pantene pros in the league, but we want some wins.
We love being the silkiest studs, but no W's is embarrassing.
I mean, I buried a one-timer backhand clapper top cheese last night, boys, but who cares? No W.
I buried a knee down half clapper from the goal line. Big whoop. No W.
And if we want some wins in this room, we got to get the puck bunny out of it.
Seems the seniors don't know what a puck bunny is.
What's a puck bunny, you little bitch?
You don't know what a puck bunny is?
Not sure I'm familiar with the term either, Bartz.
Okay. Whereas musicians have groupies, hockey players have puck bunnies. Right?
Right?
Yeah.
Get it?
I think I understand. A puck bunny is someone who seeks a relationship with hockey players specifically.
Seeks to fuck them, yes.
I have no problem with that.
Right. Unless the puck bunny is getting in the way of wins.
Any puck buddies get in the way of W's come to mind?
The seniors are failing to see the relevance of Reilly and Jonesy bringing up a puck bunny. Reilly has to be the voice of reason.
Right. I'm just going to go ahead and spell this right the fuck out for you boys. The girl that you're all in love with, she's a puck bunny.
The seniors still refuse to believe Angie's a puck bunny, and just then Angie walks in and calls on the seniors to get some appies. The seniors start fighting, and Reilly and Jonesy yell at Angie that she's tearing them apart. They follow Angie out of the dressing room.
Hey, we need to talk.
Hey, bud. Sick dangles last weekend. Mixing a W, but still. Unreal roadie for the boys.
Listen.
You too, bud. Silky miss last weekend. Love that knee down half clapper. Unreal. What do you want to talk about, bud?
Nothing.
Sicky. What about you, bud?
Nothing.
Unreal. Well, I'm going to go crush a sando. Appy's a hundy P, boys.
No, I hate that.
Speaking puck bunny, bro.
Oh, God. Girls who don't play hockey should not talk like hockey players, but...
Hey, girls who don't play hockey, stop talking like hockey players.
Well, why would girls think we like that, bud? We fucking hate that. Oh, man, we might be waxed here, bud. I mean, I want W's, but I can't talk to her. I can't do it. I'll fucking pop.
I'm with you, bro. I was already starting to snap crackle.
Reilly comes up with an idea about finding someone who can speak to Angie on her level, someone who can speak puck bunny. So there you go. That's a setup for the main storyline in this one.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Like, to me, honestly, I know you grabbed some good clips out there, but there was definitely more. And even the round table with the seniors there made me laugh that time.
Yeah.
And there's more to come. And I don't often like them, but the whole discomfort with Reilly and Jonesy there when she's speaking puck bunny is just epic. And
you 3 beers in already there, Matt?
Actually, yeah, I am.
Oh, wow.
I pre-drink before the show. Don't worry. It's responsible podcasting.
So this one's
this is the most we've heard Angie talk, I think, so far. And you know what's funny is that now that kind of we're hearing her, I'm thinking, how could she and Wayne ever have been a thing? They seem so not compatible.
Right, but she's in puck bunny mode right now, so I think
you're missing the point, Victor.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's not like we're so familiar with her that we can just know that, oh, that's a mode and not her personality.
Right. Yeah, sure. I mean, later on we'll see Katy switch to Puck Bunny mode, and we'll see that she's a different person then too. Which, speaking of which, Reilly and Jonesy comes up with the idea to find somebody who can speak Puck Bunny. Next scene, back at the farm, the Hicks are in the kitchen. Wayne has just finished getting Katy's sled out, and just then, Squirrely Dan rips a nasty fart.
Inappropriate.
Why?
Because you're not supposed to fart in front of girls.
True story.
You're suffocating me.
That's a two-way street.
They go on to talk about how they're going to figure out who wrecked the sled shack. Katy sent Shep and Kingsley to take photos of the sled shack in daylight. The models return from their mission and remove their coats. They're still shirtless. They do their back and forth routine about how chunky they are. And then Wayne just sits there fuming as Squirrely Dan gives the funniest looks. Katy finally shoos the models away, and Wayne speaks his mind.
You've outdone yourself this time, kiddo.
Shut up. They're perks.
Stimulating conversations?
No, they're stimulating, all right.
Huh?
Nothing. Photos.
Katy looks at the photos. The models are posing in each one. On the surface, they seem useless, but then Squirrely Dan takes a closer look at them.
Well, what's the scoop, Super Chief?
Oh, it's D-Gens from upcountry, all right.
How do you know?
All the different patches of yellow snows. D-Gens loves pissing outdoors.
Fucking D-Gens.
Dan's right. See that spatter of blood right there? That's from bloody nose. D-Gen's always got the finger up the nose.
I fucking hate D-Gens from upcountry so much.
The models return. They ask for their photos back so they can use them in their portfolios. Wayne yells at them to put a fucking shirt on. The models retreat to Katy's room. The Hicks leave to deal with the D-Gen problem, but Katy stays behind. And then just then, Reilly and Jonesy show up at the farmhouse. They compliment Katy's new look. She asks them to get to their business.
We need a favor.
FERDA.
Okay.
There's a Puck Bunny.
So the boys are getting laid.
Bad kind of Puck Bunny.
So a lot of the boys are getting laid.
She's divided the room.
I bet she divides in a room.
And we want W's, so...
So she's got to go.
Yes.
Players only meeting.
Yeah, we tried that.
Boys aren't really receptive.
Oh, she's a clever little bunny.
We tried also talking to her too, but
she speaks Puck Bunny and...
And what?
She drives us mental, boys.
We can't hang.
Jonesy and Reilly ask for Katy's help. They need someone who speaks Puck Bunny. Katy doesn't think she can even speak Puck Bunny anymore, but then she tries it out and gets Reilly and Jonesy all excited. In the end, Katy tells them it's not her pig, not her farm. In other words, not her problem. Plus, Katy thinks she'd like the girl. She wouldn't mind meeting her one day.
Well, you have met her already, though.
I have?
Yeah. Angie.
The Angie?
Yes.
Yes.
In.
So Katy's in on the plan. Next scene, out on the trail, the Hicks arrive at the wrecked sled shack. McMurray, Joint Boy, and Tyson are already there cleaning up the mess. And then Squirrely Dan rips a fart.
Inappropriate.
Why?
Well, Joint Boy's right in line of fire there.
Somebody makes some Montreal steaks placed in their tomato soup.
I mean, I feel like they're being really hard on Squirrely Dan this epised.
Yeah, they're targeting him.
He has every right
To be fair,
To be fair.
he's ripping it a lot.
Yeah, he is. Wayne and McMurray go through their awkward greetings when they're interrupting each other, and then Wayne gets to the business at hand.
Now, no one likes beating up D-Gens more than you, so we figured we'd give you a dang. Tyson, Joint Boy, you've helped us put up the shack, so it only makes sense you help us defend it. Now, they got us on the weekend. We should nip this in the bud now before they get the rest of Letterkenny.
Well, it's all fine and dandy, Wayne, but I had to hire a hand to do the chore in my absence. You'll have to cover his wages.
Same. I'm on nights right now. It's double time.
You should try EI.
Fucking D-Gens from upcountry.
It's costing us money to beat the shit out of these D-Gens.
Wayne pays McMurray and Tyson what they ask, and Derry then presents the plan. They're going to advertise a party for D-Gens, egg huckers, nose pickers, and mailbox ruiners. They're going to hide in D-Gen blinds, which are similar to deer blinds, and when the D-Gens come, they jump out and beat the shit out of them. McMurray likes the idea, except it's Tuesday, and that's more of a Friday night or Saturday night thing. Wayne thinks they'll need a stronger lure. Squirrely Dan asks, well, what do D-Gens love? Derry says, besides nose picking or pissing outside, nothing. McMurray then thinks that if you want to describe a degen son of a bitch, according to the Evening News, at the top of your list would probably be racist. Squirrely Dan agrees. Given that McMurray comes up with his plan.
What we could do is we advertise a party for ethnicities out here at the shack. And we could use the ethnicities to lure out the degens that we wants to beat the shits out of.
Fuck's sakes, that's offsides.
Well, you let me finish, Boss Hog. Okay, so what we could do, is once we bring the ethnicities out here, we could beat up the degens before they could try to beat up the ethnicities.
You're still walking a super fine line there, Big Chief.
You didn't let me finish. See, what we can do now is have the ethnicities help us beat up the degens like some kind of fantasy revenge of love of ass whooping.
I guess I've seen that in a Quentin Tarantino film 1 or 3 times.
Abort.
The Quentin Tarantino reference, I figured Victor would like that because they're probably talking about Inglourious Bastards.
Well, yeah, I mean, the references continue to,
to point that way,
show up.
Yeah.
So
Tyson speaks up next. He thinks another thing degens are known for is being homophobists. Squirrely Dan agrees to that too.
Yeah, no, homophobes is definitely degens.
You mean like gay bash?
That's the one.
That's the worst.
Yeah, you're right. That is so gay.
Wait, there's homophobics.
Who is?
Less you say now, less you have to apologize for later.
This begins a whole hilarious discussion on what it means to be homophobic.
See, Professor Tricia from my women's studies class teaches us that homophobia is not just condemning homosexualities, but it's also not using the appropriate and preferred terms what homosexuals likes to be called by.
Yeah, but they call themselves twinks sometimes. Like, I'd be offended by that.
I might be offended by that too. You see, where I'm from, sometimes when people think things are dumb or stupid, they just say that it's gay.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to say that anymore.
Are you a homophobe?
No.
Well, because what you said was definitely homophobics.
Fuck's it's a lot of work.
It's like picking stones and doing hay all at once.
Fucking degens.
I'm pretty sure you're a homophobist. Beat the shit out of you one time for beating up a gay.
Yeah, I didn't know he was gay. He called me a fag.
Well, this certainly has come full circle.
Yeah, see, but yous being offended that being called a fags is also technically homophobics.
Trying to take a fucking migraine here.
Well, see, where I'm from,
we all knows where yous comes from, McMurray's, but times they are a-changins.
I think we can all agree here that homophobists are degenerates.
I got to stop.
So much going on.
Yeah, I got to stop because this is one really well-written scene, in my opinion.
So good.
This is one of the reasons why I love this show because once again, just like how they handled abortion in the last episode, the way they handle homophobia here, I mean, only they can do it that way, and I think they do it really well. Like they walk that fine line, but they never. Yeah, I really enjoy it.
And not to be lost, Squirrely Dan's women's studies class.
Yeah, he brings that up again. It's awesome.
Brilliant.
But like, I think, and again, I feel like I'm going to walk a fine line here too, but it's okay because I what they do so well is they really illustrate how I think the way culture and everything's changing around these topics where people are often confused and don't even realize they're being inappropriate in the wrong settings, right? Like, and I'll admittedly say, like, when I was younger, I'm well into my 30s now. When I was a kid, I would say things, like that's gay, that's this, absolutely. And it was not intended in my head in a negative way towards or the LGBT community, anything like that. It was not ever intended in my head. So I didn't have misrepresentation in mind, but it was a terminology that was very common.
Yeah, it was out of ignorance. You didn't know any better.
Yeah, absolutely. So over time, as I've learned and grown and whatever, that phrase has certainly left my vocabulary because I've learned to appreciate that has a whole different meaning and it offends a lot of people. So I wouldn't do that anymore. But I mean, even this scene that sadly illustrate that, he's saying things like that. And they're like, oh, that's a homophobe. It's like, well, he didn't even realize he's doing that. And no one really knows what to do. So everyone's sort of teetering this line. And a lot of people are still learning and growing to adapt to the way the world is today.
Well, that's what's important, right? Is the growth. Like, growing up in a small town, I I had there were the homophobic slurs and there were the racist slurs that I repeated because I didn't know any better either.
Yeah,
until I knew better. And then the whole point though of growing as a person, I don't want to start getting too preachy, but it's you grow as a person. You understand when something is wrong, and then you change the behavior, right? And what I loved about that scene is you got a group of hicks who are some of them aren't too bright. They're all because by virtue of being hicks are probably conservative folks, and they're grappling with that, but they're doing it in a way and they're learning as they're doing it and they're talking it out. And that's what I like about this show. It's a kind of like how many, like Tanya and I live kind of surrounded by a lot of conservatives here who won't take that time to question or to have those talks. They'll just say, "Oh, fucking PC bullshit. I have no time for that." Right. Whereas in this case, there's a clear example of behavior where growth can happen from that behavior as opposed to just shutting it out because you're anti-PC or whatever. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. I thought it was a great scene, and a lot of people may have just laughed at the sort of banter, but there's a lot more going on there than
I think so too. Yeah.
Than at face value.
Yeah. What did you think, Victor?
Yeah, same. The reality is that you're a lot more likely, even though you'd hope people are growing, you're a lot more likely to come across a dinosaur who would say that is so gay than you would a kid in school. Kids are still very cruel, and kids are dumb, but they don't say that anymore, right? And that's the thing. And that's just a small kind of little microcosm of the fact that we as a human race are always evolving and we're always getting better. And as bad as the world is, we are better today than we were 10 years ago and 10 years ago before that, and so on and so on. We're always growing and evolving, and that's just another small example.
You were very quiet. What did you think of that scene?
I didn't see it that way. I was kind of bored at that point. So
it dragged on a little bit.
I kind of tapped out after the whole hockey thing was happening.
Yeah, I was afraid that was going to happen.
Yeah, the hockey banter, and I'm just like, are we visiting that again? Like, how many times are we going to do the circle and them going around? And I was like, and I'm done. If it wasn't for homework, I would have turned it off.
Yeah.
So I kind of tapped out already at this point. I love what you guys are saying. I see what you're saying. I think it is brilliant how they did that, as you've mentioned. But yeah, at that point, I just was kind of like, I just want it to be over.
Well, back to the scene here.
She was still mesmerized by Squirrely Dan's farting.
No, yeah.
So
as soon as I saw that this was going to be a hockey centric episode, I knew we were going to lose Tanya early. I was like hoping though that she could hold out to this scene, because I feel like from this scene on, the episode does. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. But anyway,
it's funny. I didn't think of it as a hockey-centric episode, but anyway, let's go on.
Well, it's called Puck Bunny.
Yeah, so it was also called Native Flu, but there was nothing.
It was also called Fart Book, and he thought it had nothing to do with farting.
So there you go.
All right, Derry states the obvious.
I think it's quite obvious that using human lures is pretty extreme.
I'd really like for you to meet Professor Trisha.
Wayne is losing faith that they're going to be able to lure the D-Gens. Derry comes up with the last-ditch attempt at a plan.
Okay, so using gays is homophobic.
Tip of the iceberg, bud.
What about fake gays?
Well, what's a fake gaze?
Well, someone who may appear to be gay, but is not actually gay, and therefore it would not be gay bashing.
Well, yes, you'd want to avoid a hate crime if you could.
So you wants to use fake gays to lure the D-Gens?
Perhaps.
Okay, listen. Just so long as everyone's heard my messages loud and clears, I think I can live with that.
Okay, this has been very diplomatic and rational. I think the next step in the order of business here would be to go and find some fake gays for these degenerates to beat up.
I know where to look.
My two favorite parts of that scene are, yes, we would like to avoid a hate crime. I love that line. And then right at the end where Wayne perks up and says, I know where to look, because I knew exactly what the next scene was going to be. Smash cut Smash cut to the farmhouse where Shep and Kingsley are sitting in the kitchen shirtless and flipping through a magazine. Wayne walks in and tells him to put a fucking shirt on. Next scene, at the rink, Angie is making her way into the locker room, presumably to rile up the seniors again, but she walks into an empty locker room. Well, except for Katy, who's dressed almost identically as Angie. Perhaps there's a Puck Bunny uniform. The girls exchange pleasantries. Katy informs Angie that the hockey players are training on dry land today. Katy asks if she's been wheeling. Angie admits to turning on the jets. Katy asks if there are notches on the bedpost. Angie admits to having been notching. Katy asks who Angie's been notching. Angie says she's been making her way up the roster, but not Reilly and Jonesy. She'd never touch them, presumably out of respect for Katy. Angie says she'd never want to piss Katy off.
About that. Yeah. Do you remember when you cheated on my brother? Yeah. And I went around town telling everyone that I was going to get you? Yeah. But then you left town, so couldn't. Couldn't what? Get you. Yeah. I guess I could still get you. Yeah. Stay away from this dressing room. Yeah. And all the players in it. Yeah. Especially Reilly and Jonesy. Yeah. And one more thing. Yeah. Open your eyes. Fucking get after it then.
Katy gives Angie one of her patented box shots and walks out.
I'm not gonna lie. I heard almost nothing in that scene.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, was it too low? Anyway, well,
I lost complete.
Oh god,
the audio just phased out, and I don't know which one I love more. I'm just saying.
You heard music and birds chirping instead, right?
Yeah, and then I felt pain.
Yeah, but you didn't. But you didn't lose concentration for the same reason that Tanya lost concentration.
No, but you know what's funny? I was about to say Tanya.
You got it.
It was at this point here where Tanya perks up, going, "Oh, she's gonna kick her in
Oh yeah,
in the crotch."
I saw that coming.
She perked up right away. It's like she was like in a coma up until that scene. It's like Katy's gonna kick her in the crotch.
I like Katy.
Well, I feel like I almost got in trouble because I think I was watching that scene a little too intensely while wifey was sitting beside me, and I'm like, I'm just trying to focus. I'm doing my homework, and it was such a wonderfully done scene.
Oh, so
I just had to focus.
Or sorry, Jen watched the episode with you.
Yeah, she'll sit on most of them.
What did you? Well, we'll ask you.
Well,
later.
she laughs.
Yeah.
No, she laughs like for sure. She's a fan, but she
Hey,
thinks
big
this is
brother.
funny that I do this.
Good news.
It's no Grey's Anatomy.
Don't say I never done nothing for you.
So Katy walks off and calls Wayne and says, "Don't say I never done anything for you." Reilly and Jonesy are up in the stands watching Katy walk away. They're pleased with themselves. Scene 6. At the Skids' hideout, a clown sneaks into the room, but is immediately caught by the Skids, who are waiting for him. Stuart calls Devin an embarrassment and unmasks the clown, but it isn't Devin.
Was that R2D2?
Yeah. Back at the sled shack, the trap has been set with Shep and Kingsley, and the Hicks go over their checklist.
Think we should have a look at the checklist. Advertise for gay party?
We really need some sort of bar in this town.
Or homosexual or queers. You know, however they choose to be identified.
Check.
Recruited fake gays?
God, those guys are pansies.
Check.
Tidied up the area in and around the shack to make it look presentable for a fake gay party?
Took all goddamn day, but
Check. Constructed D-Gen blinds so that we may hide out and wait for the D-Gens to try and ambush the fake gay party?
Fuck's it cold.
check.
Paid Tyson and McMurray their wages so as to help us beat the shit out of the D-Gens.
Fucking D-Gens. Check.
You should really try EI.
All right, then we're ready to get this rig rolling.
Not a moment too soon. Here they come.
Okay, everybody into their D-Gen blind. When the motion sensor light bulb comes on, time to jump out and beat the shit out of the D-Gens.
Thank Christ. Because if there was even one more chore, even one more chore involved in beating the shit out of D-Gens from up country, I'd be pulling the chute.
And just then, the bulb on the motion sensor light runs out. McMurray gets a text notifying him that his farmhand has the scoots, so he's got to go choring. And Tyson gets a call from his boss, who needs him to go into work to take care of an emergency. The wheels are falling off the Hicks plan, and the sound of the distant sleds nears. Wayne comes to a realization.
All this work involved in luring these degens out here. All these fucking chores.
Fucking cold.
You bring these shirtless nutsacks out here to be fake gay dudes.
I'm still not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah, there's something wrong. I don't know what it is or why, but there is.
It's not quite sexist, but it's not quite homophobic.
Something, though. I know it is. It's not PCs, that's for damn shores.
Well, I'm just thinking, all this work luring them out, wouldn't the more efficient thing be to repel them?
That's a Texas size 10-4.
I'm farting!
Appropriate.
So, cut to a quiet sled shack the next night. You can hear someone or someone's taking a piss in the woods. And when they're done, they come out from behind the sled shack. It's Ginger and Boots. And cut to a couple of degens hiding behind a snow pile surveying the shack. Upon seeing Ginger and Boots, one degen says to the other, "It'd have to be a sick ostrich." And cut to black. So there you go.
Victor, what did you get about that ending?
So it wasn't a close-up of them. So when they came out, I didn't know that it was Ginger and Boots. I wasn't sure what was going on.
Okay.
And Linda and I were watching it together, and we both looked at each other thinking, what's going on? And then when they did a close-up of the degens, because we didn't know who they were, but one of them was a ginger. And so I thought, wait, what's happening here?
You got confused.
and then I was also trying to connect it to kind of how it was just a second ago, all noisy, and there was about to be this confrontation, and then it was all quiet. I was just trying to piece what the heck happened just now.
Yeah, fair enough.
Did they have their confrontation? And then who are these guys? Is that Ginger and Boots? And if it is, then how can they also be behind the rock? Or maybe it's the degens. And so we had to go and do research. We went online, and I felt better because there's a whole community of people that had no idea what happened and were asking.
So you found the one Reddit stream, did you?
And so you looked as well. And and all I'm saying is, I don't think it was as clear to everybody as you think.
All right.
And I thought there was.
Glad I did. I'm glad we did it. I'm glad because now it makes sense. But I don't know. It was just. Wasn't that tight.
The cut wasn't very clear. I agree with Victor. Like all of a sudden you were hearing snowmobiles, and then all of a sudden there's nothing. Like where did everybody go? Like it was still night. It didn't show that there was a time lapse into the next day. So what happened that night?
Yeah.
Like
it was a bit of a messy cut at the end there because they did talk about, McMurray was saying how, well, even though I have to go back to work, I'm here anyway, and they're coming, so we'll fight them anyway. But we do, and then, but then they started talking about we do need to figure out a way to repel, like to keep them away as opposed to beat the shit out of them. Anyway, Victor, what are your thoughts on this? No ratings, just kind of overall thoughts.
Yeah, I thought there was some interesting storylines. Obviously, not the farting. That was just some fun banter. It wasn't a strong opening like they typically have. I thought it was just okay the way it opened. But I like the storylines. The hockey storyline was okay. I didn't think this was a hockey-centric episode. I thought the main story was the shack and the planning and that whole conversation in the middle about the whole PC topic. The first about getting the ethnicities out there, and then getting the gays out there, and it was a really central piece to the whole thing. And then that's how it ended as well, right? I mean, it really had the beginning, the middle, and the end. And I felt the hockey was a secondary story there. And it was, and to be honest, like Matt alluded to the scene with Katy and Angie, and yeah, it was all right. But I also didn't really was happy with how it ended. I thought it would have been better if she didn't kick her in the crotch, because then it's like, I'm going to get you. Then you have a reason to fear me. But now she kind of did it. So what's there to fear? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I felt that was a little. The scene could have ended without that.
Well, she already feared Katy to the extent that Reilly and Jonesy were off limits. She said as much, right? I know. I'm just saying it didn't need to go it didn't need to go there. But overall, there were some. I liked the storylines in the episode, and some of them were executed quite well. Matt?
Yeah, I liked it. I'll say. I mean, I'll echo some of what Victor was talking about. But to me, there was two solid storylines going on in this one. The one obviously about the shack and figuring what to do with all that, and then the hockey side. But all in, I mean, to me, Reilly and Jonesy, I thought really came out strong on this episode. I love their dialogue. I thought they did some good work. Boomtown, I mean, he had his couple lines. I was crying laughing at him.
Yeah, they were great.
I mean, I don't like that little circle jerk they do there, but Boomtown's lines were great.
Yeah.
I thought the hockey line, the whole storyline was great. The fart scene, I mean, like I said, I'm 6, so fart jokes make me laugh. And I think and what we talked about already with with how they handled that whole scene around homosexuality and all that, I thought it was brilliant. And I really think, I mean, a lot of people might actually, even listen to this cast, rethink that scene a bit, because I think you're spot on, Al. I think they really handled that well, and really showed the discomfort that a lot of people have and how to approach scenes, because they don't know when they're crossing that line or aren't even aware when they're being inappropriate or totally
and
appropriate.
the discomfort is okay, because that's how we're going to learn. Yeah.
Yeah. And they talked about it very openly, and no one was bashing each other. It's like, oh, that's not appropriate. Oh, that's okay. I thought that was really smart. And, so no, I thought there was two solid lines. I think the scene with the skids didn't make any sense. It was fine. It made me laugh, but it just kind of was like a throw-in scene. So
I think they're setting it up. They're setting something up.
Yeah, and it's fine. But to me, it was a commercial break for this one.
Yeah,
it still laughs, but it didn't really fit. But overall, I enjoyed the episode.
Tanya?
So do we know who the girl clown is?
We will.
But we don't.
Not yet.
There's no name or anything.
No.
There's just screaming, and then that's it. Cut scene.
Because they thought it was Devin, and it's not Devin. It's a girl. We'll find out who she is.
That squeal was right out of Star Wars.
yeah. It's a great squeal. Yeah.
Okay, so I like Katy, still do. I love how she doesn't let anyone touch her. She stands up for herself. She stands up for her brother.
She's the alpha female in that town.
Totally the alpha. And I love her for that.
Hondo P.
Yeah, I do. I do love a strong, awesome woman. So loved her. Didn't love anything else. Like really didn't. I don't like the hockey, as you've noted. I didn't like this. It just feels like repetition. It just repeats itself over and over and over again. And I'm like, okay, been there, done that, saw it, move on. What's the story now? Like, I just don't feel, and I know that this one had a little bit more when you're noting about the underlying message, but I just didn't feel. I wouldn't have that conversation. To me, that would have been frustrating to have somebody not understand the reason why you shouldn't have decoys of ethnicity.
But we were witnessing them getting to understand it. They don't understand it yet because they don't. But
well,
they
now
don't
that
know any
we've
better.
had this conversation, I can see that,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
and I see your point. But during it, I was already kind of, all right, you know what? I'm just got to get through this.
Let me remind you, there was a real life example of this on our podcast last season or in season 1, where I used the term spirit animal in one of our Twitter polls.
I think, and I used it on the show.
Yeah, and and there's no bad intention there. And as soon as somebody pointed it out, that's not a great term for Indigenous, against Indigenous people. I learned and I apologized, and now from now on I know not to use that term. So that it happened on this show. So yes. What we were witnessing there is just another example of somebody learning.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
No, I absolutely. I see that now that you're pointing it out. As I said, I was kind of
because I could have just easily have said, oh, they're just being it's just a figure of speech. Anyone, it's harmless. They're just being overly sensitive, right? Because a lot of people would have said that, or that's just PC bullshit. But no, like it takes a little bit of empathy to learn, empathy and humility, right? To say, you know what, I didn't know. I'm sorry, my bad, and now I'll learn from it and try not to repeat that same mistake. Okay. So yeah, my views on the episode. It's a 50-50 episode between, I think the storylines are 50-50 between the hockey and the Hicks. The Skid storyline is just, they're setting something up. It's just it's a commercial break, as Matt said. It started, it wasn't the strongest cold open. It was still fun. It wasn't one of their smarter written opens, but I think it still had a lot there to enjoy, like a lot of Squirrely Dan and his reaction to, how dare you say I can't fart, this is my lifeblood. This is what I do. Like how, so that was kind of fun, but yeah, it's not one of the strongest ones. So I feel like the episode started kind of not weak, but it started at a clearance, but then as soon as it hit, to me, that one scene, and it's a long scene. So admittedly it's probably too long, but I love the scene. I love the writing of it, and I love the intention of it, and I love the everything about it. Like, this is why Letterkenny works, because it's showing Hicks in a light that people don't normally see them in. And I always say this, Tanya and I we live in a small town. We're surrounded by a lot of, conservatives. Our neighbors are like, during election time, we don't dare put a sign out because we would be the only red sign on our lawn. And up in Canada, red is liberal, not the other way around. We're surrounded by
important to call out.
Yeah. We're surrounded by a sea of blue up here. Blue is conservative. So we would never dare show our colors here because we're surrounded by conservatives, and we hear it all the time. We know. And so anytime a teaching, like a teachable moment like that happens around here, it's just shrugged off. Fucking PC bullshit, snowflake, blah, blah, blah. Everything you can say and think of is happening. There's no stopping and going, well, wait a minute. Why is it wrong? Maybe I should rethink. And that scene gave kind of a weight to, a path to that understanding. So that's why I really, and there's a lot of that on Letterkenny. There was a throwaway line, I think, in season 2 where Reilly and Jonesy said, "I don't think that's politically correct." When the natives, remember when the natives, BFIs, big fucking Indians or whatever.
Yeah.
And Reilly and Jonesy said, "I don't think that's PC." Like, again, like, who says that, right? But they're trying to be kind of empathetic. They're trying to be okay. PC isn't a 4-letter word; it's a 2-letter word. It's so. I liked the writing of it. I thought that brought the level of the episode back up. And I was about, we'll get into ratings after, but I have been swayed a bit by some of what Victor had to say and Tanya. So that'll reflect in my rating. The other thing about the circle jerk with the seniors, I really wanted to include some of the Boomtown quotes, but they would have made zero sense if I didn't include everyone else. And I really don't like what the others do. Like, if it was,
I agree.
I have to say something about that circle.
Yeah.
It's becoming a guilty pleasure. Like, I hate it and I love it at the same time.
Oh, okay.
I don't hate it, but it's just tedious, and it's just I'm just waiting for what Boomtown's going to say.
That's how I feel about those 2 models too. Like, really, like, what is going on? Like, just move on.
I think the difference here's the difference, and I'll say it. So I don't mind the models. They make me laugh, but there's only 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it bounces back and forth really quick. But with the seniors, there's 5 of them, 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
So it takes a long time to get around that circle.
Yeah.
The first few guys are hit and miss. There might be some funny, and then Boomtown slams it and you laugh your ass off.
Yeah.
So you're kind of just waiting. So if they do 1 round, you're like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
They do
How are
2,
the models
like,
interesting? Honestly.
Well, the models are just ridiculous.
No.
They're ridiculous, but they're
ridiculous.
That is not a character that is like, oh, I can't wait to see the model. Like, what are they going to do this? Oh, they're going to say that they're fat again. Like, really? Like,
I'll
come
take the
on.
hockey circle over the models every day of the week.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, I don't know. It's just too much repetition.
All right, let's move on to ratings real quick here. Victor, what rating would you give this one?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's a surprise. It's going to be a clearance for me. I think that there's too much good storytelling, and there's not too many, but there's definitely some great scenes in this episode that it wouldn't deserve compost. I mean, especially that scene in the middle. it's just too good. But it's definitely not a fresh. I think it's just didn't open well. Had some ebbs and flows, and the ending. I liked the ending now that I understand it, but I didn't like that I needed to go and do research to get there. So so it's a
shouldn't have to work that hard to watch a TV show.
Yeah, you're right.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Matt, your rating.
I'm gonna give this a fresh.
What?
No. Hear me. Hey, whoa. Listen, we know, and I heard. Did you hear that? That came from Victor and Tanya. We basically disagreed on almost every episode.
Oh man!
But I'm giving it's a light fresh, but it's still fresh, and I'll tell you why. So I was fine with the opening. It made me laugh. I thought the two stories were solid. And honestly, I think the message that they were really trying to send out there, I thought was delivered really smart. And that's what I really appreciate about this episode. Again, I've got a lot of friends who have experienced this kind of thing firsthand. And when they tackle topics like this, it's always uncomfortable, but I think they did it well. And I thought it was smart. So for those reasons, this one lands in a fresh one because I think there's something to be said in this episode.
And you know what? They used the F word, the FAG word, and and you like at first you're like, ooh, but then when you pay attention to the context and how they use it, it was brilliant. I thought it was brilliant. 10.
Okay, can I just start by saying, when we started watching the show, I crossed my fingers. I really want to give a show a fresh. I really do. I long for an episode that I'm like, damn, that shit's good. Like, and I can't believe you gave it a fresh. I did not think it. I don't think it deserves a fresh. I like what you're saying. I would have absolutely 100% put it in the compost. You have swayed me to put it in the clearance.
All right.
I'll take it. I'll take it, Tanya.
But wow, totally. Like, again,
like I said, it's a low fresh, but I still think it needs to be a fresh.
I love the message that you guys have pointed out. I think that it deserves more than a compost. I'll stick it in a clearance.
I appreciate that. I think.
When I give my performance reviews and the person is arguing for a higher rating, I say it's all about consistency. So it's not about having a peak; it's about having a consistent, consistency of peaks throughout. And that was my issue with this episode. So yeah, the message is on point. That scene really showed the authenticity of the show, right? The authenticity of the characters. That it's just we accept you for who you are. Come bring yourself to the show, right? It's just that the message is super great, but we're here, we're here judging the episode, right? We're having fun with it. It's obviously these guys, again, the caveat that they're brilliant and they're awesome. So we're just having some fun. But if we're going to judge the episode, I have to give for my rating, I'm not trying to sway Matt, but for my rating, it's all about the consistency, and that's what it comes down to.
That's fair.
Yeah. So coming into this to the podcast, I was going to give this one I was teetering. I was between. It was a high clearance, low fresh, and then listening to Victor and Tanya talk, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I think this is a clearance. I think it brought it down. But then Matt's closing argument brings me back into a low fresh. Here's the thing. Everything.
It's not a thing. It's not a thing.
My bag of beer cans fell over in excitement.
So,
oh dear.
Everything that I said about it still remains true. Why I like it. All the things that all the issues I had with it. There were only really two issues: just the inconsistent ending, and really the opening. It was weak, but it was still fun. It was still funny. So I'm not going to penalize it for an opening that isn't as brilliant as Relationships was, or something like that. And the other points that I want to bring up, I loved the character development or the story development of the relationship between Katy and Wayne. We're seeing a lot more there him, he looks out for his little sister, and she does the same for her big brother. And I really like that. I also thought this was Reilly and Jonesy's coming out party. 50% of this episode had a hockey story, and it was on their shoulders, and I thought they carried it. I thought they did well. Whether you like the hockey content or not, Reilly and Jonesy show that they're
sure. They stepped up. They found somebody to help them and their team and get their wins. And sure, I see it. Okay.
And the other brilliant part about this show is
they didn't get the win yet, but anyway.
Yeah. The other brilliant part about this show is the majority of the characters are caricatures. They're not very deep characters. They all have their gimmicks.
Isms.
They've got their their isms or their gimmicks
and gisms.
But the way they react to the stories, they react truthful to their characteristics, and for some reason it works. These 2-dimensional characters are actually make a 3-dimensional story. So I don't know if that means anything, but anyway, it was good. I give this a fresh. It's just barely a fresh though.
Yeah,
and it's on the strength of that one scene. I just you can't dismiss it because I think the writing there was great.
Yeah.
Does this knock anybody's top 5 lists? We'll start with Victor.
Again,
No.
it's
No, I can't.
I don't know. I have to take a look. We've now seen too many episodes. When after the first 5, it was easy.
Mm-hmm. Well, and this one's a clearance, and all of your top 5 are freshes, so that's why I'm guessing it doesn't.
Are they? Oh,
Yeah.
Well, then no, then it doesn't. I didn't realize I had 5 freshes already.
Yeah. Give yourself a little more credit there, Victor. Your number 5 is Sled Shack, so it was the last episode.
All right.
Matt?
No, it doesn't hit the top 5, but it was still a great episode. It doesn't.
Should I even bother asking Tanya?
Nope.
Yeah, it doesn't crack.
Move along.
Yeah, it doesn't crack my top 5 either. But you know what? We're in season 3, so now it's going to have to be an exceptional episode to make that top 5.
I can't wait for the ones that you guys say that you didn't like, because I just can't wait.
Yeah, I have a feeling there's going to be some differences in opinion there.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. We're getting a little over the hour now. Let's move on to some listener comments. This one here's from our buddy Jason Dean Cutler. He's got a couple of comments here. First, from our last review episode. I can't even believe that there wasn't nothing but love for this episode. We're talking about Sled Shack now. I'm talking to you, Vic and Tanya. The cookies, the names, Coach was absolutely classic. This is a great episode. I enjoy your podcast though, regardless. Al, Matt, let's get sushis. Oh, sorry, shoesies. I can't even say it improperly. He also says, so much went down in that episode. The outtakes from the seasons add so much of the show and absolutely should be watched. I'm going to try and think of a good question for your guest, which would have been Patrick. We'll call you big shooters since you nailed a sponsor. Keep up the good work. That's from Jason Dean Cutler. Thank you so much, Jason, for all the kind words. Chad says, finally caught up. I really enjoy the podcast. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Chad. Had a blast chatting with these D-Gens. Check out the full cast here if you want to. That's from Patrick McNeil. And again, we can't reiterate enough how much fun we had on Monday with Patrick. Mike Loringer, I'm not sure. Just finished listening. Fantastic interview. He's talking about the Patrick McNeil interview. Also, I just subscribed and started listening to your podcast. That's from Carrie. She's one of our new listeners as a result of the season 9 announcement. Our buddy Redbeard just finished a new episode. Absolute gold. Casey, I need Letterkenny live to go back on tour. I bought tickets for March 2020 show and COVID canceled it. We hear your pain, Casey. Dean from the How Are You Now pod, he also had tickets, I guess, for they had a show going in Seattle, and unfortunately that got canceled as well. We didn't know. I didn't know anything about these shows until we started doing this podcast. So hopefully they start back up again, because it does sound like something I'd love to go attend. OMG, I had no idea there was a dedicated podcast. That's from FOMO again. We got a lot of new followers from the season 9 announcement. There's a Letterkenny podcast, !3 from Sad Lion. And Sad Lion goes on to say, already subscribed. We'll start listening as soon as I get caught up with Office Ladies Pod. I've heard a lot about that one. It sounds interesting. So thank you, Sad Lion, for following and listening. And yeah, and the news items, we already talked about it. Season 9, Christmas Day in Canada and Boxing Day in the US. And also, if anyone is interested in a local Toronto podcast, Toronto Mike is one of the best. He interviews local Toronto, I won't say celebrities, but just media personalities. And I appear on it every once in a while. We're friends, and he's invited me on to do a podcast tomorrow night. So I'll be on that tomorrow, and hopefully he'll let me talk a little bit about the produce stand.
Nice.
So do we have any final thoughts, Victor?
No, I'm looking forward to the next episode. Not that I know how this one ended. Mm-hmm. Looking forward to learning about the clown. So that's nice. And maybe it's going to be a good trade of sorts. And I'm looking forward to playing with my train. So there you go.
Have fun with your train, Victor. Matt, any final comments?
Just, I want to shout out, to our listeners, this is honestly a blast. We're having so much fun. All those who have joined us in our private DM group on Twitter, that thing is hilarious to me. If you want to join, I'm sure I'll put something else out on the produce stand handle to let people get in on it. It's hilarious. We have there's a really good community growing there. We're having a lot of talk anywhere from beer to the shows to, I don't know, other random shit.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of hockey knowledge.
Some sharing of some stuff. So there was some hockey banter going on. It's all good fun. I want to do a quick shout out to Crystal Schlesinger, who's been sharing a bunch of her stickers, her Letterkenny stickers that she got with some of the community. So it's a lot of fun. And I'm just really appreciating this whole experience.
Yeah, that's right. So we were schooling some of the Americans and Australians on some of the hockey slang being brought up on the show. I'm not sure about the accuracy of some of it, but anyway, that's been fun. And yeah, Matt, you had a huge conversation around beer.
I was drinking one day. That happens sometimes.
So but yeah, so that's the kind of stuff that happens. It's not just Letterkenny talk, but you're right. It's a great little community now that we've got going. Some
and I want to call it. I think my scientific poll around beer may have gotten more votes than our weekly poll. So
shut up.
Maybe I don't know what to say about that. But.
Well, then you're in charge of polls from now on. How's that? Tanya, do you have any final comments?
I want to ask. The last episode that we watched, we saw a new girl coming off of the sled, and now
Rosie,
and we didn't see her at all this episode.
Yeah, Rosie comes and goes. Yeah,
that's because of the farting.
All right, I was just like, did I miss something? Was she there? There was another girl that pops up. It's this every episode we have a girl that pops up and then disappears again.
Yeah, they're really good with kind of not dropping stories, but just, pausing storylines and picking them up later, which is weird because their seasons are only 6 episodes long. So when they do drop a storyline for a few episodes, you wonder whether did we lose that storyline or not? But yeah. No, she'll be back.
All right.
Rosie is definitely an integral part. I showed you the trailer for season 9. Rosie's in it. So we know that she's in there for the long run.
All right. Just wanted to make sure I didn't black out or something.
All right. I'm going to play us off with a song from this episode. It's called Punk, the Cosmic Gate remix by Ferry Corsten. And that's all we have for this episode. Next week, we'll recap and review episode 3 of season 3, Modine's 2. In the meantime, don't forget to give our sponsor, DG Pop Customs, some love. You can follow him on Facebook and Instagram at DG Pop Customs. On Twitter, he's Dennis Gugin, and he's a good guy. He's a really good guy. Please rate us on iTunes if you like the show. Follow us on Twitter at ProduceStandPod. Thanks for joining us. Now we're going to head out to the sled shack to beat up some D-Gens from Upcountry. On behalf of Matt, Victor, Tanya, and myself, have a great week.